Hello, everybody, and welcome to TB3 University Season 2, Episode 3. We got three big men on campus. I'm Will. I'm here with Colby and my boy Joel. We love college football. I've said it before. This is the best college football show in the nation. Number one. Consensus AP vote all around from us. There's no controversy here. We are the best. We love it, and we're so excited to talk about it. Covering your three, the big three, the number one team, your South Florida Bulls, and we also talk some Gators and some Seminoles. The big rivalry of the state. We love college football. We talk about it nationwide as well. So happy to be here. How are you guys feeling?
We love college football and we hate the Miami Hurricanes.
Oh yeah,
Agreed.
Yeah, don't like those guys. Smoked USF this Saturday. Me and Will were there in Miami, Hard Rock. My first time in Hard Rock Stadium. Pretty unique stadium. I'm so glad they have a big hole in their ceiling so rain can fall inside of the stadium. But in all seriousness, pretty cool experience. Down there. Me and Will have been to all three of the games, and yeah, the Bulls are 2-1. They lost this Saturday, 49-12 to Miami. Tough luck. I mean, what is your guys' takeaways from this game?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just trying to not you don't want to be disappointed about this. Losing is never fun. But you still have a long season to go, and you especially, after this week, you start conference play. And I think the big thing for this team is trying to win enough games to get to the American Conference Championship, and winning that's the next step for this team. So you got to learn from it, and you got to move on. Like, we've heard in the post-game pressers, get out of your mind, focus on the next game. I think the biggest thing, just a little bit unmatched, unfortunately. There's some areas that have to get better. I think you said it too after rewatching the game a couple times, and I didn't want to believe this at first, but I think, Miami just was not a good team schematically for South Florida. I think that was the biggest thing. There's just a lot of areas that they're able to target South Florida really well and take advantage of them. But, yeah, really tough loss, but, you got to move on. Got to get to conference play and start winning again.
I felt like even though the score was what it was, like there was still a lot of moments in this game where I believed in the Bulls. Like I was like, it's only a matter of time. Like it's the Bulls. Like they're gonna come back in this game. I don't think it was until like maybe the late third quarter where I kind of had to let reality set in for me because, I mean, we've seen this team do amazing things. I thought it was just gonna be another chapter in the book.
Yeah, I agree. I think the final score, I think, is definitely a bigger margin than what the actual game was. That really doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. But I do think, like Will mentioned, I said this, to Will, to people I talk. I think this was one of the worst matchups of any team in the country USF could have. Miami is very, very stout on the offensive and defensive lines. We mentioned that last week. And I think that might be probably the best offensive line in the country, to be honest with you. They're just big, athletic, work together. They've been together. 4 of the 5 of them started last season. I think there's 3 projected, NFL draft picks on that line and could be more. And then on the defensive line, Ruben Bain might be a top 5 pick in next year's draft. So they are really, really good up front. And I think USF, that's kind of where, as a Group of 5 team, you struggle and you lose because you just that is hard for a team, behind in recruiting notoriety or NIL money to build is that offensive defensive line because it takes world class training and strength coaches. It takes world class health and nutrition people, and it takes world class athletes, and it takes an immense amount of depth to be dominant in the line of scrimmage, and especially be dominant on a national level on the line of scrimmage. And USF isn't there. They've gotten to a point where they can hold their own a lot better than they used to be able to. But Miami is just so elite up there that it was just a poor matchup. Again, like Coach Alex Golis said after the game, they made Carson Beck look real comfortable in that pocket. He had time to throw, and USF corner can only really cover for so long. On offense, I think we'll mention it. There's a lot USF offense has to improve. They are boom or bust right now. They are relying on long long plays, mostly long passing plays in this game. And USF, if they want to get to the place, if they want to get to that conference championship game, they have to be more consistent on offense. And I think it starts with the running game.
Yeah, their running game was something that was absolutely atrocious, and even with how good Miami's defense was, coming out of a game with only 40 total rushing yards as a team, it's an average of 1.5 yards a carry. That's unacceptable. No matter who you're playing, no matter who the opponent is, you got to get a run game going. You got to get better blocking up front, because what it did is it really made South Florida one-dimensional, and I think they were able to make some plays, and that's one thing I think that's a positive that I saw is they can still make plays. Byron Brown is still an amazing quarterback. Chaz Nimrod,
those receivers, man, they have been very impressive.
All could make plays on a good Miami defense, so that's something you got to take away from this game. That they are still very good and they can still hang with the best offensively, but it really starts with that offensive line not getting the rushing game going. That was kind of the big failure and why they weren't able to keep this game close.
Yeah, I mean, USF on the season, they're averaging 95 rushing yards per game. To contrast, and 3.4 yards per carry. To contrast, last season on USF averaged 180.9 yards per game. So they were almost doubling their rushing output last season from this season, and they averaged 4.8 yards per carry last year. Some advanced stats: USF has a rushing success rate of 30.3%, which is it's 131st in the country. That's just the metric to see. When you run the ball, did you get 4 yards? Did you do what you're supposed to do? Did your line block? Stuff like that. And then their PFF team run blocking grade is 45.8. So if you guys remember, a PFF grade is out of 100. So 45.8. If you got that on a test at school, you would not be feeling good. That's how the Bucks or the Bulls offensive line and their receivers and their tight ends are feeling. That's 133rd in the FBS. So Alex Golish mentioned running the ball is part of their identity. They have to do it better. And you've played three really good defenses, three really good defensive lines. And part of that has been schematically you have to kind of throw the ball more, you have to run Byron Brown more. Byron Brown, he's accounted for 39% of the Bulls rushing output, and it's just USF at some point is going to have to run the ball or they're not going to win conference games, and it'll be a good test to see if their running game improves when they play a lesser opponent this Saturday.
Yeah, I think I think too. It just gotta work a little better schematically. I think you gotta incorporate more of the read option. Byron Brown is gonna run the ball, so I don't think there's any argument there. Like should he run less more? Because when you look at the film and the few plays they did, kind of option it out. They caught Miami going inside too much and was able to let Byron Brown get to the outside. So I think you gotta tap into that more when the rushing game's not working from your backs. I think that's something big that I saw.
Yeah, I think I do think quarterback run's important, and I think that's been solid. But you got to get these running backs going. Mm-hmm. I think if you're looking at which running back you can be a little bit impressed with, it's Alvon Isaac. He has been really, really good. He kind of started as the third string running back, in the initial depth chart, but he's been pretty good. 108 yards on the season, 7.7 yards per carry. Coach Golesh also mentioned how good he has been in pass blocking. He's also has some big catches on the season. He's probably been your best back. So maybe if USF can give him some more carries and lean on him a little bit more, that could help the rushing attack too. But I think it starts up front. USF's offensive line, they've been banged up. They've had some injuries. Some guys have missed some time. And either the guys in there or the guys that are getting healthy and coming back, they have to do a better job of opening holes, of creating gaps for the running backs to go, because there's just really nowhere for anyone to go. I mean, it's just like a wall when USF tries to run. So that will be the key for USF season. I think you have to feel good that you're not going to face a defensive line that's as good as the three you've faced the first 3 games. So you have to feel good in that sense. But USF has to do it. They have to actually go out and produce. So that remains to be seen for this team.
Mm-hmm. But that was my point. I'm just saying I think you should look to more option stuff, more reading stuff, and you've seen it be successful a lot of times. I think too of like the really delayed one where Byron Brown pops it up to tight end Wyatt Sullivan, stuff like that, and I think that should open up the run game a little bit more and get some of these backs, some more space when they get the ball.
Yeah, I agree. I think Byron Brown has been really, really solid. He's averaging 249 yards per game, 61.5 completion percentage. That's up from last year. Passing, I think he has overall been a lot more accurate. We saw him hit some big throws. I mean, he had a throw on Saturday where he was rolling left on third down and threw it back over his shoulder. It was like a 35, 40-yard completion. One of the best throws I've ever seen Byron Brown make. It was phenomenal. Maybe the best one, honestly. Yeah, it was a really, really good throw. I think he's been impressive in the air, made a lot of good plays. And like you said, I've been very, very impressed with the USF receiving corps. I think it starts with your two leading receivers, Chaz Nimrod, Keyshawn Singleton. Those guys are both averaging over 20 yards per catch, both over 200 yards in the season. But believe it or not, the player who has the most receptions on USF is actually a true freshman. You mentioned his name, Christian Neptune, true freshman. He has 12 catches, most on the team. He actually didn't start practicing with USF as a true freshman until June. He missed all of spring practice due to a surgery from his high school days. So he's kind of just bursting on the scene, and his hard work ethic has got him on the field, and he has been impressing, everyone that's been, covering team, the coaches, everyone's talking about him. So that's been a bright spot for USF. It's the wide receiving core in general.
He scored their only touchdown too.
Yeah, his first career touchdown. So I think offensively, passing game has exceeded expectations, but rushing has definitely been far below expectations. I think defensively, I almost feel like this is a game where you can completely flush on the defensive side of the ball. I think there were still a lot of good things. You pick off Carson Beck twice. That puts you up to six turnovers forced on the season. Jarvis Lee gets his first career interception. James Chenault gets his second interception in 2 weeks. He's now picked up DJ Lagway and Carson Beck. That's a heck of an achievement for James Chenault. I think they're calling him Bobo. I think that's his nickname, so I like that. But I think defensively, this is really a game that I feel like you could just flush.
Yeah, I saw some good things. There definitely was some bad, but I think this goes back to what I said last week on the episode, is where I was really concerned about Miami's offensive line and how USF was going to match up against them. And I think the biggest thing was just not getting pressure. And we talked about earlier just how Miami matched up well against them. USF primarily is running cover 3. That's a lot of zone, and Miami, Carson Beck really faced no pressure, so a lot of those crossing routes, those mesh concepts, were really getting to him because he's got all day back there to throw it, and these guys are crossing the field. What's his name? Something Tony, and
Malachi Tony, CJ Daniels. Yeah,
they're just running through the coverage because they just can't. They obviously can't do it forever. I think that was the biggest issue. And again, we've seen Miami run the ball really well against Notre Dame, and we saw that again over the weekend, so that really stings. I think that was the biggest issue, is just you got to find a way to get pressure. And when they did those 2 interceptions, they actually got pressure on Carson Beck, and what does he do? He throws it right to the defense, like we said. Especially the first one. I mean, there was a Bermuda Triangle of coverage there, and he just throws it right up. The other one, he tries to make a little bit of play. I mean, there's a guy there, but got tipped and whatever. But yeah, that was the biggest thing. It was my concern going into the game. So
yeah,
that how they would face against the O-line.
Yeah, there was only so much USF could do. You were hoping maybe the linebacker could fly in there and plug holes, and I thought they did all right, especially early on in the game against the rushing attack, but there was just so many chunk plays in the pass because Carson Beck had so much time. And USF definitely needs to find a way to get some more pressure, especially with their front. Denard Flowers, Rico Watson, those guys have been very, very non-existent. I think the interior of the line's been very impressive, stopping the run. But I think the ends, the outside linebackers, those guys, Rodney Hill, like those guys need to do a better job of finding pressure. Like USF has to be able to generate some pressure going into conference play without dialing up blitzes.
Yeah, that was another thing too. I think honestly, you really have to just chalk it up as a great wrinkle for Miami is Carson Beck running the ball, kind of keeping it. I think USF was a little too sold out on an inside zone run. And Carson Beck keeps it. He burned him a couple times on it, so you have to give Miami credit for that too.
Yeah, that was I agree. It was a good wrinkle. Something I haven't seen Carson Beck do a lot. He was finishing runs too, and I mean he got popped a couple times as well. Like it was very interesting to see. Like Miami was definitely. This is unfortunately not your grandfather's Miami team that's gonna not focus for a game every single week. That Mario Cristobal has those guys in a good spot. That's a really, really good team. That's a team that will that's a really good team for sure.
Yeah, Fred Gaskin really popped Carson Beck.
Oh yeah, Fred Gaskin had a great. Alex Goller said in the press conference this week he thought that was Fred Gaskin's best game. That's a sophomore. The young secondary has been very impressive. Jarvis Lee, James Chenault, Fred Gaskin, those guys are all sophomores, young players, contributing. That's been very, very impressive for USF this season.
But I still think you got to give the defense a little bit of credit too. And this was something that the offense really struggled with because we talk about momentum and stuff like that. You're down 28-6. The game is almost out of reach, but your defense comes up with an interception. Offense punts it in 3 plays, gives it right back. You open up the third quarter with the ball, you punt it away. Defense forces another interception, and what does South Florida do? They immediately fumble the ball and give it right back. You had a chance to come back in the third quarter. I mean, you held Miami scoreless up until about the 3-minute mark, I want to say. No, 35 seconds left in the third was when they finally scored in the second half. So your defense gave you a chance. They gave you a shot. So you do have to give them some credit there too.
For sure. They, like Joel mentioned, like there was a USF hung around, and they weren't in the game, but they weren't. The game wasn't
it was
over
like they
for a
were
long
getting
time.
so many turnovers too, where it was like, all right, just get a couple more of those and convert on some of these offensive drives, which they weren't doing in the second half, and that was kind of where you just had to put the game to bed and say, all right, let's get them next week.
Yeah, if USF could have turned those big plays into touchdowns instead of 3, it could have been a different
that's
game.
Another thing.
Yeah. But again, I mean, to play with a big dog like Miami, I mean, gives you confidence as they go into the weaker schedule throughout the rest of the season. So, I mean, they have every reason and every right to win every game on the rest of their schedule.
And that's true. And I will get to this in a second. I do want to mention Byron Brown threw an interception. His first interception since 2023. He had thrown 252 pass attempts without an interception.
Wow.
Yeah. Streak comes to an end, unfortunately.
But to your point, Joel, I think this Bulls team does have to be uber confident coming out of this stretch because, again, this was 3 consecutive games against ranked opponents to start the season. 3 consecutive games the Bulls were underdogs in. 3 consecutive games that were all fit the billing of games that your normal South Florida Bulls would not win. Mm-hmm. And you come out 2-1 headed into your final 9 games. You have one more non-conference game. Then you have a conference slate. You definitely have to feel confident, but you also have to be wary that USF still hasn't proven that they can be a team that runs the gauntlet in the American Conference. Mm-hmm. Like they've never won the American Conference championship. They've made it a couple times. A while ago. I don't even think they've made an American Conference championship game. I don't think they have. And so they haven't proven that they can do this. So that's still a next step that USF has to do. They have to show that they can beat inferior opponents. Like they have to show that they can, go, and this is something Alex Golesh talked about, where they can play consistently and not have the up and downs, and beat the inferior opponents, and beat not only the inferior opponents but the ones that are, on their level, or the ones that are a tier below them. Like I don't know if there's any team right now in the American that is as talented as them, from top to bottom. Defensive line, like. I mean, you can look at Memphis, Tulane, and you see a lot of things, but I mean, USF is right up there talent-wise with anyone in the American. So they just have to show that they can, consistently week in, week out in their conference, win these games.
Yeah, I think that was a big thing last year, and that's why I'm thankful this week you're playing an FCS opponent, which you should have no problems with. But I think that was a big thing last year. As you look at, they had a tough stretch of games to start out. You had you're at Alabama, then you're at Southern Miss, then you're at home against Miami, and you play Tulane. And I know that Tulane's a very good team, but that they came out flat. They came out flat and uninspired last season, and I think that's a really important thing for this team is to finish strong because your season has just begun. These games, you're on the big stage, and I think Golesh does a great job of getting these guys ready to play some big competition, the big time opponents. But your season's not over; it's just begun. So you got to lock in.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, like that is something that has been stressed by Alex Golesh over and over. Where they have to handle success, they have to stay consistent, and this team has really bought in. I think to a level that the teams prior were not. And maybe they said the same things and we just weren't in the locker room, but it definitely feels different from.
They're bought in.
They really are, and they're genuine with it. So I'm very, very. I'm excited to see how they tackle conference play and how they're able to do. And I agree. I think this is a well-placed FCS game. I think that this is a game that you can correct and clean up a lot of things in this game, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, stay healthy too. That's a big thing.
Which they've done a good job. Knock on wood, they've done a good job. I do have a couple notes on South Carolina State, just because. Just because I think you got to respect the Bulldogs, and that's HBCU, the South Carolina State Bulldogs. So they played. All right, here's what I think you guys care about. They played South Carolina this year. They're 2-1, wins over Bethune-Cookman and Wofford. They played South Carolina, and they lost 38-10. However, in the game against South Carolina on the road, they actually outgained South Carolina. They out-yarded them 270-258. South Carolina, really the only reason they won handily was they had 2 punt return touchdowns.
Wow.
So
it's
definitely
rivalry.
Yeah. And this team, FCS, but they won their conference last year. They won the MEAC last year. So
do they say MEAC or Meek? I want to call it the Meek.
I think it's the MEAC, but I don't know. The Meek, I don't think that's, which I guess that has good connotation in the Bible, meek. So I don't know, but yeah, just very, very I don't know. Javon Hargrave is a South Carolina State alumni. Shaq Leonard.
Didn't somebody? I want to say a Hall of Famer went there.
There's 4 Hall of Famers, but I didn't really recognize any of the names.
I thought there was a big one. Maybe I'm thinking Mississippi
Harry
Valley
Carson,
State.
Deacon Jones, Marion Motley,
Jones,
and Donnie Shell.
No, I think maybe I'm thinking of Mississippi Valley State.
But yeah, I think there's a lot of things you can correct and get on the right page this game. Hopefully, it seems like Alex Golesh thinks there's going to be a pretty nice crowd there on Saturday at noon.
Yeah, Pack Ray J.
Pack Ray J. It'll be fun, man. It's getting a little chillier. It's not going to be too hot.
I think we're all 3 going to be there.
Yes, that's the plan. That's the plan. We'll be there. So yeah, that'll be a fun game. I don't know anything else on Saturday's game.
Yeah, no, I think we've just said it. You got to focus on it. Don't ever overlook any team. And yeah, just use this as a learning game to get better, fix some stuff, tweak some stuff. But overall, just come out with a win. Stay healthy.
All right.
We predicted.
Okay, trivia question. Has US, do you guys think, all right, USF has 1 loss against the FCS school all time. what was at FCS school? Any guesses? I'll give you a hint. You'll recognize him from the men's NCAA tournament.
From this past year.
That's too many hints. Too many hints.
Okay.
From the last 5 years. The last 5 years. The last 5 years. It'll be a team you'll be like, oh, I know them. I know Joel don't know.
I don't know. It's like my heart wants to go with the team, but I'm like, I don't even know if they're in the league. You're saying.
I'll give you 5 seconds. Will 5, 4.
Give me one more hand.
Okay, they were in last year's tournament.
They were in last year's tournament. They were a big, kind of story. No, just
5, 4, 3,
yeah, just
2. McNeese State,
McNeese,
2013. McNutt State. So yeah, tune in. South Florida Bulls look to make it 29-1 against FCS opponents on Saturday, 12 p.m. ESPN Plus. But you can watch it live at Raymond James Stadium. So pack Ray J, and we'll move on to the Florida Gators. Sickening.
Well, out of respect for the show, Seminoles had a bye week. They play Kent State. The Gators technically deserve to go last. I'll still respect that.
Well, don't we do it by who won the Sunshine State Showdown last year?
The winner goes last.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
So, yeah, Florida State had a bye week. They played Kent State. They got their first win in like 2 years. But, yeah, I predicted the other big blow-up by Florida State. We just move on.
What's the linebacker's name again? The one that got shot?
Ethan Pritchard.
He opened his eyes this week.
Yeah.
He opened his eyes this week.
He's still in critical condition. It's going to be a long road for him. It's really sad. But
yeah.
Keep praying for him.
Yeah.
You know what? I hope you respect that. I'm honoring.
I kind of forgot how those show worked. I was tweaking.
The winner of the Sunshine goes last, so it is the Gators.
Bang, bang. Anyways, Florida. I don't even want to talk about them, but they went to Death Valley Saturday night. Tough game, hard-fought game, and it's really hard to fight for a game when your quarterback throws 5 interceptions, which is what DJ Lagway did. 33 for 49, 287 yards, 1 touchdown, and 5 interceptions. LSU would win this game 20-10. Florida has allowed 2 touchdowns this season. They have lost 2 games. The offense is in a very, very tough spot. Ran 27 times for 79 yards for 2.9 yards a carry. LSU's defense is improved, but they're not that improved. Really, really disappointed. Some big plays coming back for penalties for the second week in a row. I guess I'll open the floor. I just tough loss for the Gators.
Yeah, I really don't think this LSU team is that good. I don't think Florida's that good either. I think that's the biggest thing. I think the brightest part of Florida's team is their defense for sure. I mean, they kept you in that game, man. Despite everything, they kept you in the game. So that's something you can hang your hat on at least. But I just think once again, when is it time? When is enough with Billy Napier? And the biggest thing from watching that game is, I just think you can look back to, his days with the Raging Cajuns, and you know what his offense is going to do. Like, there's just nothing new. It's just, I feel like that was the biggest thing with LSU. It's like they knew what they were doing. They weren't fazed by anything. They weren't adding any wrinkles or, making LSU work for it. They were teeing off on Lagway. They're making them comfortable. They're just a predictable offense, and there's nothing special about it at all. And, I mean, that's your coach calling the plays, head coach. He seems to be the problem for everything. Lagway's development. I'm not ready. I don't like the Gators, and I'm not ready to give up on Lagway. I think this is just purely coaching. He's just not developing. Offense is bad. Whose fault is that? The offense coordinator. Who's that? Billy Napier. It's just penalties. Penalties all over are bad. That's been hurting the Gators. They look undisciplined, making sloppy mistakes. Once again, who's that falling? The coach, the head coach, Billy Napier. Sunbelt Billy.
Is it fair to say at some point this has to go on management above head coaching? Because when was the last time they had a good head coach?
I think so too. I think Scott Strickland needs to go too. I think they both need to. I think the big problem with the Gators, and I kind of touched on this last year in one of the episodes, and maybe I can go back and try to find it, but I think the biggest thing is the board at Florida and having an interim president, and I don't think the people in place right now care that much about athletics. I truly think they don't.
But at the end of the day, Scott Strickland has all the resources he needs to get a good coach. He just chooses to go for the mid majors. Like he really doesn't. I mean, here's the thing. In Scott Strickland's defense, he hired Todd Golden, and that worked out well. And Todd Golden is probably the one that's saving Scott Strickland's job right now. To be frank, he just got an extension. And I agree. Maybe some funding and some focus from the interim president and those people stepping in is not coming, and that's why they're not going for these big fishes. And it also feels like Florida's been had terrible luck with the class that they've been hiring with. Like you look back, like you miss, the Kalen DeBoers of the world, and you miss that cycle of, and it's just, but I agree with you. Like it really does all come back to coaching. Like it really does, because, like I said, or like you said, DJ Lagway he looks worse than he did last year. And I think that's not a product of DJ Lagway getting worse. I think that's a product of DJ Lagway staying stagnant because there's no development on his coaching staff, and defense is figuring out how to defend Florida's offense. I mean, it's pretty easy. Just sit back in the zone coverage, and on early downs, just put people in the box, stop the run, and sit back in zone coverage and defend the 40-yard pass. And what else is Florida going to do? I mean, DJ Lagway doesn't look like he knows how to run a defense. Billy Napier doesn't look like he knows how to adjust a game plan. What else does defense have to do? It's simple. It's easy. It's easy for a defensive coordinator to defend Florida, which should not be the case with the amount of athletes and talent on that offensive team, because they have it. They have a great offensive line, offensive line that has shown production. They have Jaden Baugh, who could probably be a first-round pick out from the running back position. They have stud young receivers, Vernell Brown, Eugene Wilson, Adam Mizell. They have really good talent. They have DJ Lagway. DJ Lagway he has all the intangibles of a really good quarterback, and you're just screwing up his development. I'm with Will. It's a shame that DJ Lagway, that Billy Napier just wouldn't hire an offensive coordinator to give DJ Lagway the proper development, to give the offense the proper amount of time and diversity, and to give the team a better chance to win.
And that's my point. And this makes me go back to Strickland. I mean, you can a blind squirrel can find the nut. Like you might have made a gem of a hire with Golden, but again, where was the pressure to make Napier get an offensive coordinator?
That's completely fair.
That falls on Strickland. I'm pretty in tune with like the Gators fan base. Like I see what's going on all over social media, and I see what they talk about. I mean, and I think you could agree. I mean, the plan seemed like everybody thought the plan was he was getting one over the offseason, and then all of a sudden
they rescinded that they was going to be forced to do one, and it got rescinded.
We don't have it. And again, that falls on Strickland.
Yeah,
and I think he has no. He doesn't have to fire Napier because it's going to look bad on him. I don't think he wants to.
I agree.
And I think he's put up with too much, because if you look at, I just think too, you look at the Gators, I don't think anything has been worth keeping his job. Muschamp, fired for much less. Mullen, fired for much less. You can talk about the recruiting, but again, winning percentages are both there. Billy Napier would have to win like 28 straight games to match the win percentage Mullen had when he was fired.
Yeah.
Even, goodness sakes, McElwain, man, he had a better win percentage and got fired before Napier.
For sure.
Like, again, I think Strickland, you got to be a package deal here. You could find somebody, you can find a better coach. And just because you nail on Golden, I don't think that's a reason to keep him.
Yeah, I'm just telling you that is what happened because he got the extension. But, I agree. I will say that I think the wrong decision wasn't firing Dan Mullen. It was hiring Billy Napier. I still think, but that's beside the point. Billy Napier has not delivered, and he's probably getting an extra year when he shouldn't have. And more importantly, you just can't. When you have a sample size of 2 years and 8 games, let's say, right, and or 6 games, whatever, 2.5 years, and the plan after 2.5 years, halfway through last season, was, hey, we're gonna make them hire an offensive coordinator because he hasn't shown that he can, properly call an offense in an SEC Power 5, big time school, and then you allow, a 4-game win streak and, a couple close losses and a game where, DJ Lagway gets hurt, whatever, and then you allow that to, way heavier than the 2.5 years you saw of, ineptitude from Billy Napier. That's a poor choice. That's just dumb, and that's dumb by the administration. And I wonder how much of a difference, because I think it's a lot, because people mentioned, like, I saw Josh Pate talking about how, what Billy Napier has built, whether it's training facilities and culture and staffs and what the kids are eating and how they're training and what their discipline and what they're doing on a day-to-day basis, represents a team that should be winning on the field. But you just don't have the game day X's and O's, of a scheme to win. And that's on Billy Napier for just being too stubborn to hire an offensive coordinator. Just stupid.
What'd they do with Big Des, man?
The Bucs couldn't even fix him, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple extra cheeseburgers in that dining facility.
It was too good for him. Yeah. Yeah, it's just it's frustrating, man.
John Summerall?
I would like it.
Do you see what Lane Kiffin said?
I'm so serious. I will be livid if Lane Kiffin becomes the Florida Gator head coach. Livid.
It just wouldn't make sense. I don't know why he would take that. Unless,
I've
even
seen
if they're
some
offering the money.
Brent Key rumors. Wouldn't hate that. I know people are going to throw out Alex Golesh. I don't really know if I'd leave if I was Alex Golesh for that situation.
I just wouldn't. I guess we could bring that up too, because it's just as soon as anything good happens, people just want to ruin it, because he's already been linked to Virginia Tech.
He's not going to Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I don't see why you would want to do that. You could be in the same conference as them in a year.
USF just hired a new CEO of athletics. Exactly. You could be realigned and P4 in the next couple of years. So, and you're getting a new stadium.
In UCLA, I think that's first off, I don't think Gulch would ever go there. Second off, honestly, that's Florida State news. I would keep a big eye out for Tony White, defensive coordinator of the Seminoles, to go to UCLA. He is a graduate of there. He has a pretty big desire to become a head coach. And if Florida State's defense continues to look as good as they have, I almost think he's a lock there, to be honest with you.
Fair. That's a fair point. That's all I have on Florida. They're going to get spanked by Miami on Saturday. I don't even... Just keys to the game. DJ Lagway, let's throw it to the guys wearing blue. Because I'm assuming they wear blue jerseys. To just... Clean up the... You got to establish the run game. We just saw that with USF. It will be hard against Miami, but you have to establish the run game. You have to stick with it. You have to hit some big plays.
Yeah, well, what we've seen from the USF game, I think, and that's something that USF took away from the Gators, and I think maybe LSU, you can stretch the field on Miami. So USF was certainly able to do it, I think.
That's true.
With
that
the
is
talent
true.
Florida has in their receiving room and Lagway's arm, you could definitely stretch the field on Miami. So that's something they should look to do.
That's fair. That is fair. I don't think it'll be enough. And now you got some... Caleb Banks is hurt again. LJ McCray's hurt. I think Miami wins. I think this actually might be the... I think this might be the game. I think this might be a Miami blowout win, and Billy Napier's gone.
Oof.
So I'm gonna say 42-17 Miami.
Ouch.
I'm saying 31-17 Miami.
I'll go 38-24 Miami.
Fair enough.
I think Gators' defense is better. I think
They
they'll
lost.
keep it close.
They're banged up, man.
Even if they're banged up, something you can hang your hat on.
Fair enough. We'll see. I hope to be wrong.
I guess
It's just how many pick sixes though. That's what you gotta think about.
Yeah, well, this thing you
Can't play defense when you only gotta go 20 yards.
So big storylines in the NCAA. I mean, I think the game of so far. I think one of the games of the year. Texas A&M going to Notre Dame, winning 41-40.
You see that miss hold on the final play, bro?
Yeah,
That was terrible.
It stinks. It's so hard with reffing. The notion of letting them play versus this, but you got to call something that's obvious. I think that's pretty obvious. But are we buying the Texas A&M hype? Big win in South Bend.
Mildly buying it.
Like
buying it as a top 15 team, but not a SEC championship team.
Some other teams, I think we can go across the room here. I'll start with you, Joel. Vanderbilt, are they for real? Are we buying? Beating number 11 South Carolina on the road. I know Lenore Sellers got hurt, but Vanderbilt.
I don't think they're for real, but I imagine they'd have some more big wins coming their way. I mean, think about last year taking down the goalposts. Like, they're definitely building that winning culture, but I think they still got a year or two until they're going to the championship of the playoffs.
Colby.
Listen to me right here on TB3 Sports Talk. It is September 17th, and I'm telling you right now, the Vanderbilt Commodores will finish this season with double-digit wins.
Double-digit wins, wow.
The first time in a long time for them.
Wow, that would be good.
I think that's about right.
Story. I think the last one, kind of big one, Georgia Tech. Are we buying? Are we buying Georgia Tech? Huge win against Clemson. Walk-off field goal.
They
Yeah.
probably won't lose a game until they play Georgia. And they might not lose to Georgia, but they have a cupcake schedule. I think they're I think they're almost a shoo-in for the ACC championship right now.
Yeah, we look ahead at home against Temple, at Wake Forest, at home against Virginia Tech, at Duke. I think maybe we'll see how Syracuse, if they can turn it around. And then,
Syracuse stinks.
At NC State.
That's the only game.
At Boston College. I think NC State stinks, man. I know they're 3-0.
I believed in Georgia Tech for a while because last year they held on to Georgia for most of the game. Right?
That was a crazy game.
That went to
man.
overtime,
they
right?
honestly should have won.
Yeah.
They really played out.
So that was kind of when the light was turned on for me on them.
Mm-hmm. I think that was really it for. That was really it for Saturday. Kind of big games. I mean, West Virginia upsetting Pitt.
Tennessee and Georgia mayhem.
Tennessee and Georgia. Yeah. Oh man.
Crazy game.
That was a good
Ruined
one.
my parlay. All you had to do is make the field goal, man. Come on, what are we doing?
Shank that sucker.
Man,
what do we got on this Saturday's docket, Will?
Yeah, I think just while I'm looking, while I find some games that we can go across the room and pick them. I think so far we've had some really good college football games. There's so many. Sometimes it might be one, and sometimes even the biggest game of the week. The ones that, that Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit call. Sometimes they aren't even that great, but I just feel like so many games have just been bangers.
Yeah.
Thrillers, and that's what you love. College football is the best sport, and that's certainly why. As we look here, we've already talked about Florida, Miami. I think the big noon kickoff game. Number 17 Texas Tech at number 16 Utah.
Ooh, I love this game.
3-0. We'll start, Joel. Who are you taking?
You gotta go Utah. I feel like I wasn't believing in them.
Utah looks good. Devin Dampier. They look like they've grabbed back to that kind of dominance they had in the Pac-12. I'm gonna take the Utes at home. Wait, it's a home game, big noon in Utah, so it's like a 10 a.m. kickoff.
That's 10 a.m.
Is it? Yeah, 10 a.m.
What the
Hey,
heck?
college football people probably love that. They're like, and we get to watch the rest of the games afterward.
Yeah, but oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Tailgating with some sausage and bacon.
Yeah. Oh, so Texas Tech is screwed. They're playing a game at 10 a.m. local time. I guess probably 11. But oh man, that sucks. But I'll be watching at noon.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well,
we'll
be
dual screening.
Yeah,
dual screening. You can do that.
That's what we do, man. Like we said last week, put us in the AP because we cover the South Florida Bulls and we still watch all the games. That's the crazy part.
Facts.
Yeah. Me and Colby were snuggling, in the hotel.
Oh, you guys were so cute in that picture.
I had Hawaii on. I was
Yeah.
watching Hawaii 2 a.m.
We were locked in the Minnesota Cal, bro.
I was like, man, I wish I went on that trip. And then I saw the bed. I'm like, oh, that's why I didn't go.
It would have been us three.
Snuggle in the middle. I'll sleep the other way.
That
My feet will be in your face.
Peas in a blanket. Peas in a pod.
Here's a sneaky good one. SMU at TCU at
What's
12
it?
o'clock
This is
on
called like the
ESPN2.
fry pan bowl or
Yeah,
something.
Battle for the Frying Pan.
Oh gosh, love that. I'm gonna take the horn,
Skillet,
the
the
horn
skillet.
frog. Yeah, the skillet, the horn frogs.
Yeah, I like TCU. I think they're pretty underrated.
I saw the Hypnotoad was back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Joel, what about you?
Who are they playing?
TCU and SMU.
We go SMU. I love me the Methodists.
I just hate when Christians fight though.
Yeah, that is sad.
Civil War at 3 p.m. Oregon State at Oregon.
Oregon wins by 65. They win big.
Yeah.
Big.
Oregon State 0-3. Tough for them.
Sorry, Oregon State.
This is setting up a nice Oregon Penn State next week. That'll be fun. White out.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be a
can't
fun
wait for that
game. Yeah.
3:30 on ABC. This is kind of like this is like a game like who's for real in this.
Yeah.
Number 22 Auburn at number 11 Oklahoma.
You know, sometimes you got to live on the edge. Sometimes you got to live with the money line. And I got to roll with money line Mateer, Oklahoma at home. I think that's your Heisman Trophy winner. I'm going to say it.
I was just going to say the same thing. I really like what I'm seeing from Mateer. I don't know if the Sooners are super legit. They did pick up a big win against Michigan, but yeah, I think Oklahoma will win this game, and I think they'll be at least entertaining in the SEC this season. What about you, Joel?
Give me Auburn. I'll mix it up.
Auburn. All right. This is an interesting one too. 3:30 on ESPN. Tulane at number 13. Ole Miss.
If Tulane wins this game, I'm going to be pissed, man. Ole Miss, their backup quarterback looked really good last week.
Yeah, I think they finally found their guy.
Yeah, I think Ole Miss wins this one.
I'll go Ole Miss.
Yeah, I agree. Ole Miss.
Oh, this could staying on Tulane Ole Miss for just a second. This has the potential of being one of the most elite uniform matchups of the season.
It could be sick.
Yeah,
I don't know
true.
what Ole Miss is wearing yet, but I know Tulane's good. Bound to have something fired.
Yeah. That could be a really good uniform matchup.
We'll go with this one quick. 3:30 CBS. Michigan at Nebraska.
Love this game actually. Give me the Huskers, baby.
Really?
Matt Rule's time. Sharon, it's Biff Poggi, which actually might help Michigan because Sharon Moore seems inept. I'm gonna take the Cornhuskers though. I think Lincoln Memorial, I think it's what it's called, their stadium is gonna be rocking.
Both of Nebraska's wide receivers are out, so I'm going Michigan.
Man, I think I'm gonna actually go with Patrick Mahomes in Nebraska. It's easy to look good against New Mexico, Bryce Underwood, but can he actually do it in a big game? And they're having a real big test here against Nebraska, and I think it's going to be too much for him. Give me Nebraska. Let's see here as we keep going. It's got to be another good game. South Carolina at Missouri. Missouri, are they back?
Missouri's pummeling them. Especially, I'm assuming Sellers is out.
Yeah, I don't know on that, but it is in Missouri. Oh man, there are some good games. Holy.
Yeah, it's a stacked week, man.
7:30 on Peacock. Number 9, Illinois. At number 19, Indiana.
Ooh, I like that.
This gets me going. I'm gonna go with the Fighting Illini. I'm an Illinois boy.
Yeah,
I like Illinois.
Illinois in this one too. I think they're battle tested.
Lenore Sellers is questionable, by the way.
Boo, Lovie Smith's not the coach anymore.
No.
I don't know.
Brent Belima.
I'll still go Illinois.
Clean sweeper Illinois. Well, Apple Cup 2 at 7:30. Washington at Washington State.
Washington's gonna smoke them.
Are we serious, man?
A lot of people like Washington. A fun game that I would love to see be an upset is Ohio State's going to Washington later this season. I'd love that. But I'll go Washington in the Apple Cup. I think Washington State stinks.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do too. This one 7:30 on Fox. This is another good game. Arizona State at Baylor.
Give me Sway Robertson. I think Arizona State looks sketchy, man. I think they might have had a little insanity run.
I'd take some Baylor.
I think I'm gonna go with Arizona State on this. I think they're gonna figure it out here. And man, I think that's actually it for the slate. You do have
Dude, you got Wyoming, Colorado, man. That's a sweet game.
Colorado better win that game.
First off, Yeah, I mean,
Or it'd be Fire Prime.
I'll be watching some Michigan State USC at 11.
That's actually
that's what I was gonna say.
that's a fun game.
That's a fun
fun
game. I was just
game.
gonna bring that up.
You know what? Hear me on this one. USC is getting all this love. They're beating all these bad teams. Give me Aaron Childs and Michigan State on Saturday.
Really?
Yeah, give me it. Yeah.
See, I like Jaden Mavia, as I call him, the Polynesian Caleb Williams. I think USC is actually a little better this year. I think they're gonna prove some people wrong. I think they're gonna get an easy win against Michigan State.
Okay.
I'll go USC too.
You see,
I don't see Michigan State win much. Sometimes I just got to go with like you just don't. They never win when I'm watching.
Fair.
Yeah, that's a
So
tough
it's
game.
gonna be the same thing.
But yeah, going back before we close, going back to CU, because I guess we didn't talk about that. They're not really in the spotlight anymore. But I think it was a boneheaded decision to start your third string quarterback because he played well against Delaware.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Are we serious? Martin Luther Staub? Why would you do that? And then again, he looks. I mean, he looked pretty terrible to start the game. He got kind of better, but CU's defense looks terrible. Their offense looks terrible. I think Pat Shurmur's terrible, offensive coordinator. And yeah, I think you got a Ferrari and Juju Lewis, a 5-star quarterback, true freshman, and you also have at least a serviceable veteran, Caden Salters. Why on earth would you go with the third string quarterback who looked good against Delaware? They just got up to the FBS level. What are we doing, Prime? Come on, man.
I agree. I'm with you, Will. And yeah, we're with you throughout the whole college football season. TB3 University. Tune in to the Bulls at noon. Tune in to the Gators if you want to see a massacre at 7:30. But most importantly, just sit back, relax, and watch some good old college football. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe, hit the like button. If you're interested in pro sports, head over to our main TB3 episode at 98, where we talked all about the Bucks and a little bit about the Rays. And yeah, Spotify, hit the 5 stars, hit the follow. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on X, and have a beautiful and blessed night.